Just doing another video on hair loss. Today I want to look at the effects of a newer sort of therapy or treatment or whatever. It's the Derma roller. You can see these here. These have been around for a little while. The theory behind these is that you use them on your face, on your skin, and you kind of roll them, and what it does is actually inflict some trauma underneath the skin, which in turn heals over. It doesn't create scar tissue. What it does is increase the amount of, it stimulates the production of collagen, which has a lot of anti-aging properties and so forth. These have been used now. There's been word about them for a while about the benefits of treating hair loss, and up until recently there's been very scant amounts of science behind it. A lot of hearsay, a lot of that sort of stuff. Recently, however, there was a study conducted that I wanted to talk about. It was conducted by the Department of Dermatology at the LTM Medical College and General Hospital in Sion, Mumbai, India. This study was then published in the International Journal of Tracheotomy. The study was of a group of 100 individuals with various degrees of male pattern baldness. And it involved all of them using 5% Minoxidil for a 12-week period. Now group 1, this group of 100 individuals was split in half, so 50 in each group, and the first group was individuals that received 1 micro-rolling session per week. That is, had this applied to the affected levels of the scalp that were balding. These individuals received 1 treatment a week over a 12-week period, and it was using a 1.5 millimeter length on one of the standard 192 needle derma rollers. The second group was the control group, and this group of the other half just simply received the 5% Minoxidil treatment without any of the derma rolling. And after the 12-week study, they had some very interesting results. The first group, who was receiving the derma roller treatment with this on the affected areas, actually had an increase on average of 91 more hairs, which is a very, very impressive result. The second group that did not have the derma roller but just used Minoxidil itself had 17 more hairs. So we're sort of looking at around a 4-fold increase in the amount of hairs over a 12-week period. Now this came out June or July this year in 2013, which means it's very recent. A lot of people are talking about it now. So there's no long-term effects that have been able to be studied. So no one really knows if long-term this is effective. But at least through this study, and this, the International Journal of Tracheotomy is a very respected sort of dermatological academic review paper. So to get published in that means that not only was this a good study, but it stood up well to peer groups. It was peer reviewed and that sort of thing. So yeah, I've been using the derma roller for hair loss for around 5 months, and I've had very good results so far. I've had a lot of hair regrowth, even at the front in the temple areas. where they say is less likely to grow than in the back of the head. But I've had a lot of regrowth there. I've got tons of not little peach fuzzy things, but a ton of real hairs coming in on both sides at the front there. And my whole gap that I had going on, where I had this little sort of chia pet type looking thing at the front, is gone now. So, you know, like anything, I would certainly talk to your doctor about it before getting into, you know, any sort of treatment that involves derma rolling, you know, puncturing your skin. There's also some talk on some of these hair loss forums. A lot of talk about what size you're supposed to use. Like I said, this study used a 1.5 millimeter. It's still a tiny needle. It's probably not even going to get close to where the hair follicles are, but you know, some of them say it can potentially damage hairs at that length. I don't believe that. I don't think it goes nearly deep enough to damage hairs. You know, again, this study was done with a 1.5 millimeter. If you're more comfortable using a 0.5 or a 1 millimeter, go for it. I don't think it really matters that much. And one other thing, there's some different kinds of derma rollers. There's the one I showed, which is the one that they used in the study, a 1.5 millimeter roller that has 192 individual needles on it. Then there's also ones that look like this that have 540 needles on them. You know, for a while I began using these 540 needle ones, and to be honest, I don't think they work as well. Again, that's just my opinion. I could be totally wrong. They don't hurt nearly as much. Now, I'm not, you know, even these 192 ones, you know, these guys, these really don't hurt. You know, they really don't go deep enough to do much of anything except for, I guess, increase the absorption of the minoxidil, as well as through the tiny bits of trauma they damage. They can, I guess, it kind of shocks cells into going into a growth phase with increased collagen, as well as potentially some other things. You know, some people are saying that they can kind of shock the you know, dormant follicles into coming back. I don't know if that's true or not, but I do know that it's had very good results for me. Now, the reason I think that these 540 needle derma rollers don't work as well is because the needles are so close to each other. You know, if you kind of think like beds of nails, you know, if there's one nail and someone lies on it, it can go right through, whereas if they lie on a bed of them, you know, there's enough support there to support the weight. With these 540 needle derma rollers, I don't think they really penetrate that deeply. They don't hurt nearly as much, which is a good thing. Again, not saying they really hurt anyway. Being uncomfortable is more of a good way to put it. But I don't think they really get down in there. If you've ever used one, you probably know what I'm talking about. So yeah, I would certainly have a look into this if you know, you're struggling with hair loss. Again, there's some real clinical data coming out now that supports this. You know, it's much more than just anecdotal evidence that people have in saying that it does work. I do believe it works very well. There's still a lot. You know, some people use them every day, some people twice a day, some people once a week. The study, they only used it once a week, along with minoxidil. I'm not sure what the best frequency is. To be honest, if I was just starting out, I would probably just do what they were doing in the study, because those results, they're stunning. I mean, they're very, very, very incredible results. Really haven't seen anything like this in terms of just actual regrowth. We're not talking about hair not falling out. We're talking about actual increases in the volumes of hair. And 91 hairs as opposed to 17 in the area that they, I think they used like a 1 inch kind of area that they studied, and just that 1 inch is where they had 91 more hairs versus 17 with minoxidil. So again, this proves two things. At least it can lead us to two conclusions. The first one is that, once again, minoxidil, they're just on its own, there's a lot of very compelling evidence that it works to not only increase the amount of hairs you have on your head, but to actually reduce the amount of fallout, the amount of hair loss as well. And the second thing that it shows is that using a derma roller with your 5% minoxidil treatment can significantly enhance results than just using minoxidil alone. Okay guys, have a good one.